Our guest today is Tommy Grisafi with Advanced Trading. Tommy, as we start to kind of fill out the spreadsheet for 2022, we're trying to figure out where all these acres could come from and what the acreage mix looks like. And one thing that we're hearing a lot about are some of these fringe acres outside of the Corn Belt having some pretty enticing options for 2022.
We're going to need more in a few minutes to talk about it, but let's just go over the big ones I'm thinking up in the Northern Plains. Spring wheat at a phenomenal price, pretty easy to seed, and a little fertilizer. That's probably what's going to determine if a lot of spring wheat gets seeded is the actual fertilizer. Second most expensive crop to fertilize next to corn. So that leaves you canola and edible beans and all these great crops that we grew up in the Northern Plains that are in very short demand. So when you look at oats, canola, spring wheat, and there's other things too, Clinton, that we don't talk about a lot on this show, but we should a little bit more. Durum and sunflowers, and the list goes on. So there's 5 or 6 crops I can think of that have a really good chance of getting planted if the price of fertilizer stays high. If the price of fertilizer collapses and a lot of people go back to corn, you could even see those specialty crops trade even higher, whereas they're competing. Now take it down south to Texas. Look at the price of cotton. Where are we going to get the corn acres from? You have the southern crops that they can grow, the fringe acre. No one likes to be called a fringe acre. It's just a term. You're all important to me. But cotton could get a very great choice over corn. Everything up in the Northern Plains, Canada, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, upper Minnesota has so many more choices than just your corn and bean rotation that we see here in the I-states, my friend.
Yeah, so there should be a lot of options. I even talked to some folks about peanuts, and they said even peanuts have a pretty good, strong story for 2022. Tommy, do you think that it ultimately impacts the price of corn or beans? Do they have to move a little bit higher to be able to buy in some acres here real quick?
It's something to watch. Now, recently the 22 corn versus 22.3 beans hit a pretty significant level here in the low 2s, but once a week, a grower should be sitting there and taking the price of beans divided by corn. Of course, they got to know if they have their fertilizer. Watch Dees 22 corn. And then, Clinton, I've been trading a lot of Dees 23 corn just for that. Is this fertilizer thing a couple-month deal or a multi-year deal? As you hear new talk of variants, it's not my talk. It's the WHO and everyone else who wants to talk about variants. But as they put countries for real on lockdown, it kind of gets these small grains growing again, and it could be very interesting. Supply chain issues look to be a problem. Keep an eye on Dees 22 and Dees 23 corn.
All right, it'll be something we watch. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Tommy, for being here. We'll be back with more Ag Day coming up in just a minute.
Interested in spending a day with a trader? Call Tommy Grisafi at 800-664-4383.
Ag Day is brought to you by Micro Essentials, a performance fertilizer that can help you reap sizable returns. Text YIELDS, YIELDS, to 31313 to download our white paper on maximizing profits.